Hi guys, I'm Mari Bickley. I play basketball at Princeton University. During high school, what I think I focused mostly on during my training that I feel like really shaped the player I am today was working on the stuff I wasn't necessarily good at. So I know it's hard to like want do things that you're not necessarily good at, but I feel like working on it over and over again and repping it made me a much better player. And another thing I also feel like was playing against and or training with players that were better, more athletic, or stronger than me. So I played a lot growing up with boys, and that I feel like that helped me a lot also as a player, just training with people that were a little more skilled than I was. Some of the best advice that I feel like I've gotten was from my mother actually. So one of the things I remember most that she used to tell me all the time was to step on the court like I was the best player every time. Whether it was true or not, just having that mentality that I was the best player on the floor, or just being like having that confidence in myself really helped me play the game how I wanted to play it and helped me play with a lot of confidence and just really helped me believe in myself a lot. So I feel like that was the biggest thing, biggest piece of advice I feel like that really helped me as a player. I think something a lot of college coaches saw in me was the fact that I was a team player. I really focused on like I feel like I was a player that made the people around me better also. I always wanted to make the right basketball plays. I was always being a good focusing on being a good leader, cheering for my teammates even when I wasn't in the game. I feel like that's a big thing college coaches look for is that player that's vocal, the player that can lead their teammates, the player that's always clapping, cheering for their teammates, picking their teammates up when they fall. So I feel like that was one of the biggest things was just how much of a team player I was. A big thing I feel like gave me an advantage when during the recruiting process with college coaches was just establishing a genuine connection with those coaches. I feel like that's one of the most important things a kid could look for when they're being recruited. Is just establishing a relationship that they know is genuine, that their coaches actually care for them outside of basketball, which is a big thing. Just because you're going to college, you're leaving your parents, where you're normally like your guardian. So your college coaches essentially become your guardian. So you want to establish a very good relationship with those people. So I feel like the biggest thing, the most important thing is just making sure you have a good relationship with those coaches, a genuine relationship. So just talking to them a lot, getting to know them outside of basketball as well. I would say the biggest challenge I faced becoming a top prospect was just the outside noise. So once you become one of the top players, there's a target on your back. Everybody has something to say about the player you are. Everybody critiques your game. Everybody just has something to say. And it's, especially as a young player, it's hard to not get so caught up in that and so affected by what people have to say about you or about people's opinions. So that was something that, was a challenge for me at a young age. But I feel like the how I overcame it was just relying on the support system I already had, and just realizing that that was all that mattered, and trying not to care about others' opinions. And obviously, it's easier said than done, but all that matters, honestly, is just the people that you have behind you. So your mom, your coaches, your parents, like siblings, teammates, just relying on the support system you already have. So what led to me deciding to commit to Princeton was just the best of both worlds, honestly. Obviously, many know that Princeton is like one of the best academic schools in the country, and so that was a big factor in my decision. I've always been big on education first. My mom has always instilled that into me, like education before anything else, being a student athlete. And then obviously the basketball side of it was just a plus. My coach has built a great program here. I built a strong relationship with that coach. When I came on my visit here, I had a great connection with the team. I got to watch a lot of their games, how they played, which I feel like fit me. So just I feel like the biggest thing when being recruited is going to a school that you know will fit you, and it's on your visits. It's important to pay attention to how you interact with players that are already there, pay attention to how you interact with coaches, and all those things just helped me pretty much decide what I was going to do. I would say the biggest thing I picked up at the college level was the attention to detail. So one thing I did one thing I didn't really do in high school much was pay attention to the small things. So I feel like coming into college, like my first couple practices, I realized how important details are. And, your college coaches are going to nitpick at every single little thing because they want you to be a great player. And details really do matter and they do really help when you start to play an actual game. So the biggest thing I learned was just paying attention to like the smallest little things and seeing the result and how they help you on the court was the biggest thing I picked up. So the way I balance academics with my basketball career, honestly, is just planning in advance. I really had to learn how to make a schedule days before because we have our basketball schedule already. So just making a schedule with that in your classes, making planning out when you're going to do your homework, when you're going to study. Like you have to really plan all that things out because the days happen so quick and the time is so short. So the biggest thing I had to learn was just time management and planning out what I wanted to do ahead of time, which helped me a lot. And then I would also say just asking for help. That's something I had to learn, that it was okay to get help in certain classes. It was okay to ask for help if you need it. Like that's a big thing that, especially when you go to such a prestigious school, it's something I really had to learn, that it's everybody needs help in certain areas. So the biggest thing is just if you need help with something, definitely don't be afraid to ask. I would say to an athlete that's trying to earn a Division One scholarship for their sport, the biggest thing I would say is having confidence in yourself. I feel like confidence goes a long way, especially in whatever sport you're playing. As long as you're confident in your abilities, that's a big thing. And I would also say just putting in the work. When you put in the work, it really does show, and it also shows when you don't put in the work. And playing a Division 1 sport is definitely not easy. It's not for everybody. It's definitely not easy. So putting in the work is going to be the most, like, the very, very important thing for you to do, is just working on your craft so that you can be confident in yourself. So the NIL experience, one of my first actually that I experienced that was pretty good for me, was a deal that I had with my entire team. My basketball team, we made it to the March Madness tournament. And with that, we got offered a deal to post a picture of ourselves in a team environment, empowering women, which was something I was very like happy to be a part of, which I feel like is very important. Like we always talk about the empowerment of women, and the women's sports is growing tremendously. So just being able to be a part of something that's helping that grow was such a great experience for me. I actually ended up starting my own clothing brand titled called Mind of Motion. Um, that was something I decided to do with all the NIL opportunities I've been receiving and all the media attention I've been receiving. I thought it was a good idea to promote myself in another way besides basketball also, and the clothing brand was something I wanted to do for a while. And in my clothing brand, I put a big emphasis on mindset because that's something I feel like is very important, especially for student athletes. As we talk about, you see a lot people talk about mental health within, like D1 athletes and all that type of stuff, and that is something that I actually have struggled with in the past, and I found ways to overcome that. And like with this brand, I'm trying to promote, having a positive mindset, healthy mindset, growth mindset, like different type of mindsets. So that was definitely something that I wanted to like implement and use my platform just to push that. And that was pretty much how I came up with starting my own clothing brand.